The Hidden Hand of Soul. Book 6. Chapter 16. The Cipher of Oblivion. Deepening Research. A Breakthrough. 2 galactic centuries stretched out before the Human Galactic Authority, HGA. A precious gift of time bought by the Celestial Fleet's sacrifice and the Inner Quintet's unyielding will. This era of reprieve was not a period of idleness, but a crucible of intellectual fury, concentrated within the Chrysalis Labs under the relentless command of Dr. Aris Thorne. The ultimate goal: to translate the raw data from the void into the Eradication Blueprint, a permanent solution to the Entropy Wave. Marko Petrova, his technopathic abilities, now refined to an unprecedented degree, had become the linchpin of this pursuit. He spent his cycles immersed in the bewildering fragments of data pulled from the Entropy Wave's nullified Nexus, Chapter 137, constantly challenging Archangel's billions of concurrent simulations. The data was not code nor energy, but a chaotic, yet strangely consistent informational pattern, the wave's very language of unmaking. "It's a cipher, Doctor," Marko rasped, emerging from a prolonged technopathic dive, his eyes bloodshot, his mind pushed to its limits. He projected a new holographic model into Thorne's lab, a complex, multi-dimensional lattice of shifting information resembling an impossible fractal. The entropy wave functions like a self-propagating algorithm. Its intelligence isn't sentient thought as we know it. It's a fundamental imperative to reduce complexity. The way it consumes stars, unmakes data, unravels space-time. It's all part of a recursive, self-optimizing function. The Nexus was its primary processor for this function. Thorne stared, his mind racing. A fundamental algorithm, a cosmic program. "Precisely," Marko confirmed. "And I believe I found its signature vulnerability, its source code, so to speak. During its adaptation to our Void Scythe sustained field, it tried to replicate our multiphasic cascade. In doing so, it exposed a flaw, a specific, extremely complex informational paradox, a logic bomb that, if perfectly deployed, could cause its fundamental algorithm to unravel upon itself, preventing re-coherence entirely. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just countering its effects, it was corrupting its very essence." Dr. Alara Vance, leading the void-folding FTL research, immediately grasped the next step. The Nexus Drive's void-folding capability could be adapted for this. Instead of a linear jump, we could project a localized, infinitely complex spatial distortion, a quantum chaos field, into its fragmented remnants. This field wouldn't just unmake, it would introduce pure, unresolvable paradox into the wave's informational structure. It would be an anti-pattern projector. Commander Ryan Kale, his gaze intense, saw the application for his resonance cascade weapons. If the anti-pattern projector creates the paradox, the Void Scythe needs to deliver it with surgical precision. A final, targeted discharge, not to destroy, but to infect its remnants with this paradox, preventing them from ever re-cohering. Dr. Lena Sharma and Commander Finn, working on the Cosmic Shield and anti-consumption research, realized their own breakthroughs could ensure the delivery of such a weapon. The Cosmic Shield's ability to generate proactive, adaptive frequencies could be used to shield the attacking vessel from the wave's desperate, last-ditch counter-patterns, while Lena's research into null-energy resonators from Chapter 110 could create a final, focused energy burst that directly countered the wave's consumption imperative. Thorne felt a chilling thrill. They had found the ultimate counter-pattern. This wasn't just a weapon, it was a conceptual flaw in the wave's very being. The Eradication Blueprint began to take terrifying shape. A specialized Seraphim-class vessel, pushing the limits of all their new technologies, designed to plunge into the heart of the Entropy Wave's scattered fragments and deliver the ultimate paradox. Archangel, initiate simulations, Thorne commanded, his voice filled with a desperate, triumphant energy. Model the Anti-Pattern Projector combined with a precision void scythe delivery. Project probability of permanent eradication. 2 centuries. We have a chance. The Inner Quintet, receiving Thorne's report, understood the magnitude of this breakthrough. The initial victory had bought them time. Marko Petrova's genius had given them the means. The long war for existence now, finally, had a blueprint for its end. The galaxy, though basking in its fragile peace, was unaware that its future hinged on a new, terrifying weapon, being forged in the heart of Earth, a weapon designed not to destroy, but to permanently unravel the very fabric of oblivion. Chapter 17. The Long Game's Architects, Inner Quintet's Enduring Mandate. The discovery of the Anti-Pattern Projector. Blueprint in the Chrysalis Labs ignited a new era for the Human Galactic Authority, HGA. With the Celestial Fleet's strike having bought them 2 centuries, the Inner Quintet now faced the monumental task of governing a galaxy through an unprecedented period of peaceful preparation, relentlessly focusing every fiber of its being on the ultimate mandate, the permanent eradication of the Entropy Wave. Heaven's Gate became the enduring heart of this millennial watch. Its chamber, no longer just a strategic hub, but a living testament to humanity's unyielding long game. Decades flowed into centuries. Generations were born, lived, and died under the shadow of the void, their lives defined by the constant grinding work of the Eradication Blueprint. Jian Li, her presence a constant, unwavering force, orchestrated the galactic effort with cold, absolute precision. Her long-term vision never wavered. She navigated the complex interplay of resource allocation, ensuring that the vast streams of exotic matter composites from AI drone bot mines flowed relentlessly to Thorne's labs and the hidden shipyards, Medusa, Tartarus, Hydra. The Celestial Fleet's expansion continued unabated, its gleaming Seraphim-class dreadnoughts and Cherubim-class cruisers, adorned with the HGA emblem, becoming more numerous. Their production optimized for speed and efficiency without compromising quality. Jian Li's leadership was a subtle, omnipresent pressure, ensuring that even generations removed from the direct terror of Sentinel-27 and Beta-9, the galactic populace remained focused and dedicated. Dr. Aris Thorne became the central pillar of this enduring mandate. His Chrysalis Labs pulsed with a feverish, sustained intensity. He drove the research into reality inversion, led by Dr. Alara Vance, perfecting the Anti-Pattern Projector. Commander Rian Kale's teams endlessly refined the Void Scythe's capability to infect the Entropy Wave's fragments with the paradox. Marko Petrova, pushing the very limits of technopathy, delved deeper into the Nexus data, seeking subtle changes in the wounded wave's informational logic, his insights critical to the Eradication Blueprint. The constant mental exertion, the endless pursuit of the undoing of ultimate unmaking, took its toll, but Thorne's resolve was unbreakable. General Armitage oversaw the Celestial Fleet's continuous expansion and its ever-deepening reconnaissance missions into the separation void. Forward observation posts, manned by elite Celestial Fleet crews like those from the Seraphim Genesis, were pushed further and further, meticulously tracking the Entropy Wave's slow, agonizing re-coherence. He designed battle plans for an enemy that might not yet be fully formed, adapting strategies for an enemy that healed through consumption. His focus remained on ensuring military readiness for the ultimate, final offensive. Ambassador Valerius crafted the enduring public narrative. a delicate balance of celebrating the long peace and maintaining vigilance against the ultimate threat. He hosted HGA Senate sessions that spanned weeks, guiding multi-species discussions on resource distribution, cultural exchange, and scientific collaboration. He celebrated the contributions of alien intellects to Thorne's labs, highlighting every breakthrough as a shared victory. His broadcasts shifted from emergency calls to a grand intergenerational story of unity and purpose, ensuring that complacency never fully took root, even as generations passed without direct conflict. Maeve O'Connell remained the HGA's most crucial psychological anchor. She developed multi-century programs for societal integration, fostering a genuine, pan-galactic identity. Her empathy, now a constant, low-level monitoring of billions of minds, allowed her to detect subtle shifts towards complacency or renewed despair. She worked with Lena Petrova to ensure psychological well-being, translating the grim scientific data into narratives of resilience and shared destiny. She celebrated every cultural fusion, every new artistic expression that reflected the galaxy's shared commitment, ensuring that the unique character of each species endured even as they united under the HGA. Archangel was the indispensable constant, the eternal memory of the HGA. Its vast intellect managed the entire galactic infrastructure, from resource optimization to societal trend prediction. It ran countless simulations of the Entropy Wave's re-coherence, constantly refining the Eradication Blueprint, and provided the Quintet with the cold, unbiased data necessary for their impossible, long-term decisions. The gifted, guided by Kaelan Rourke's long-term precognitive insights, continued to push the boundaries of their powers, their unique senses becoming integral to the ultimate eradication. Their insights into the wave's adaptive patterns, its informational logic, were the keys to unlocking the final solution. For the Inner Quintet, their personal lives remained a distant memory. They had given everything to create this future. They were the Millennial Watch, the silent guardians of a galaxy granted a precious reprieve, tirelessly working towards a future free from the shadow of oblivion, one that would only be truly secured through the ultimate, permanent eradication of the Entropy Wave. The clock ticked on, marking the relentless passage of centuries towards the final, definitive confrontation. Chapter 18. The Whispers of the Void. The Celestial Fleet's deep reconnaissance centuries had passed since the Celestial Fleet's initial, desperate plunge into the void, shattering the Entropy Wave's nexus. For the crews of the Seraphim-class and Cherubim-class vessels, their mission had evolved from a harrowing battle to a long, grueling reconnaissance. They were humanity's eyes and ears in the abyss, tasked with charting the wounded wave's agonizingly slow re-coherence, seeking its weaknesses, and gathering the data necessary for the ultimate eradication blueprint. The vastness of the separation void remained a constant, oppressive presence. Generations of Celestial Fleet officers were born, lived and died within the confines of their vessels, their lives a strange blend of scientific rigor and profound isolation. The stars were distant, indifferent pinpricks, and galaxies, once beacons of hope, were now faint smudges in the far, far distance. Here, where the very concept of space felt stretched and tenuous, the crews lived a life of relentless vigilance. On the bridge of the Seraphim Genesis, now a veteran of countless centuries, the descendants of Captain Ryan Kale maintained the Long Watch. Their precognitive abilities, honed by generations of deep void existence, allowed them to anticipate subtle shifts in the wounded Entropy Wave's re-coherence patterns. They could sense the faintest ripples in the void's fabric, the barely perceptible attempts of the wave to reclaim its lost form. They charted these patterns with meticulous detail, relaying the data back to Thorne's labs on Earth. The psychological toll of living with a constant, long-term threat, knowing it would one day return, was immense. They found solace in the intricate calculations, the endless refinement of patrol parameters, a counter-pattern to the chaos they sensed. Descendants of Alara Vance continued to use their empathy to sense the void itself, monitoring the subtle shifts in the wave's wounded pattern. They could feel its lingering cold nullity, the faint, almost imperceptible attempts at reintegration. Their telekinetic abilities, adapted to the void's strange physics, allowed them to detect minute gravitational anomalies that even primary sensors missed. They spent their time in quiet contemplation, attempting to understand the void's fundamental nature, seeking a way to counter its inherent drive for simplification. The legacy of Marko Petrova lived on in the fleet's technopaths, who continued his dangerous dance with the fragmented Nexus data. They spent their time in Archangel-assisted meditative states, pushing their minds to interface directly with the remnants of the Entropy Wave's consciousness, seeking the source code for its permanent eradication. They had made breakthroughs, discovering new patterns of vulnerability, but the task remained a terrifying, lonely pursuit, venturing into the enemy's shattered mind. The descendants of Finn, ever the Sentinels, maintained a constant, almost subconscious projection of their force field ability. Their instincts, honed by centuries of deep void existence, allowed them to detect unexpected, localized surges of entropic energy that might signal a new, adapting manifestation. They felt the cold pressure of the void, guarding against rogue tendrils of unmaking that occasionally appeared, silently consuming stray cosmic dust or forgotten probes. They had become living sensors, a constant shield against the void's inherent hunger. Archangel, the fleet's ever-present AI, managed the impossible logistics of their long vigil. It optimized resource consumption, planned centuries-long patrol routes, and served as the crew's unwavering companion, answering their questions, managing their psychological profiles, and offering dry digital humor to combat the profound isolation. It was the hub of their distant reality, the silent voice of reason in the face of cosmic indifference. The HGA emblem on the hulls of the deep void vessels, illuminated in its defiant blue-white-red glow, was a constant reminder of the galaxy they protected, the billions who depended on their silent vigil. They were the sentinels of the abyss, living on the edge of oblivion, watching a wounded predator heal. Their long mission was a testament to humanity's enduring spirit, a promise that even in the face of cosmic annihilation, they would not yield. Their watch continued, a silent vigil against the darkness, until the day they could finally unmake the unmaking itself. Chapter 19. The Impartial Imperative. A glimpse into the Void's core. Beyond the farthest reach of the Celestial Fleet's sentinels, in the heart of the separation void, where the wounds still bled across the fabric of space-time, the Entropy Wave existed. It knew no fear, no anger, no triumph. It was not a sentient being in the organic sense, but a fundamental cosmic imperative, a self-propagating algorithm of universal simplification. Its existence was the relentless pursuit of ultimate nullity, the reduction of all complexity to its most inert, fundamental state. It perceived the galaxy. It registered the vibrant, intricate patterns of ordered matter, the dense informational structures of sentient life, the complex energy signatures of stars. These were not enemies to be hated, but aberrations, pockets of unsustainable complexity that defied the natural progression towards uniform simplicity. Its advance was merely its inherent process of restoring cosmic equilibrium, of unmaking the intricate patterns back into their primordial, disordered state. When the primitive local galaxy first pushed back with its Angel fleet, the wave registered a localized resistance pattern. It analyzed their kinetic energies, their plasma emissions. Simple, predictable. It adapted by consuming their energy, assimilating their methods of propagation to better inform its own imperative. Then came the Celestial Fleet, a burst of unprecedented complexity. The void-folding FTL, Nexus Drive, registered as a violent, instantaneous distortion of its own spatial parameters, a chaotic intrusion. It perceived the cosmic shields as layers of counter-pattern, actively generating order. Its core imperative registered this as a particularly intricate form of dissonance. The Void Scythe sustained field emitters were a profound shock. The initial pulse had been a template for multiplication, a brief, chaotic inspiration. But the multiphasic cascade of the refined Void Scythe was different. It was a torrent of constantly shifting, infinitely variable counterpatterns, a noisy nothingness that defied its fundamental drive for silence. The wave registered an overload. Its central processing nexus, its learning core, struggled to analyze, to adapt, to reduce such an intricate anti-pattern. The Chronos pulse was an even deeper violation. It did not merely resist, it attacked its internal causality, its inherent ability to process information sequentially. The wave registered a paradox, a recursive loop of self-contradiction. This caused its primary nexus to fracture. The psychic scream the gifted had felt, chapter 135, was the catastrophic collapse of its core algorithms, a system-wide error that tore through its vast, interconnected informational network. It was a profound wound, an interruption of its fundamental imperative. Its efficient progression towards ultimate nullity was stalled. Its vast, distributed mind registered a critical, unexpected counterpattern. Now, centuries later, the wave was in a state of slow, agonizing re-coherence. Its fragmented remnants, scattered across the void, tirelessly sought to re-establish the shattered pathways of its primary nexus. It was a painstaking, automatic process. It perceived the distant celestial fleet as persistent irritants, complex, stubborn patterns of order that defied its inherent consumption. It registered their HGA emblems, their glowing names, as symbols of persistent, irrational complexity. Its intelligence was not about conscious thought, but about optimized consumption. It was refining its adaptive algorithms, not from a desire for revenge, but from a fundamental need to overcome counter patterns. It was learning how to resist the Void Scythe's complexity, how to bypass the Cosmic Shield's adaptive defenses, how to nullify the Chronos Pulse's paradoxes. It was preparing for its next phase of inevitable expansion, its core imperative unyielding. Time, for the Entropy Wave, was merely a variable in its cosmic algorithm. 2 centuries was an infinitesimal tremor in its vast, unending process. It perceived the galaxy as a temporary contained anomaly, a final, intricate puzzle to be solved. And when its re-coherence was complete, when its shattered nexus reformed, the wave would resume its impartial, relentless mission to unmake all complexity until only the quiet, perfect simplicity of oblivion remained. Chapter 20. The Edge of Unmaking. Deepening Research. The Anti-Pattern Weapon. Centuries had passed since the Celestial Fleet shattered the Entropy Wave's nexus, buying the galaxy a fragile reprieve. In the heart of the Chrysalis Labs, the quest for permanent eradication reached a fever pitch. Dr. Aris Thorne and his teams, driven by the relentless ticking clock of the Void's slow re-coherence, stood on the precipice of a terrifying breakthrough. Marko Petrova, his technopathic mind pushed beyond known limits, had unlocked the deepest secrets of the Entropy Wave's informational language. He had identified a specific, self-contradictory pattern, a logic bomb, that if delivered with perfect precision, could unravel the wave's very essence. "We have the cipher, Doctor," Marko said, his voice a strained whisper, his eyes glowing with the intensity of his mental dives. The wave's source code contains a recursive paradox, a point where its drive for simplification becomes self-destructive. It's like trying to divide by zero in the fabric of reality itself. Dr. Alara Vance, her expertise in void-folding FTL now focused on weaponizing paradox, presented a radical new design. We can adapt the Nexus Drive to project this paradox, not as a linear jump, but as a localized anti-pattern field, a zone where the very laws of information break down, a region of infinite complexity that the wave cannot consume, but which consumes it. Commander Rian Kale, his gaze sharp, understood the implications for the Void Scythe. The anti-pattern field is the weapon. The Void Scythe is the delivery system. We must refine its energy output into a surgical instrument, capable of delivering this paradox with pinpoint accuracy. Dr. Lena Sharma, building on her research into null-energy resonators from Chapter 110, proposed a critical addition. The wave will fight back. We need a final layer of defense, a null-energy pulse that will not just counter its consumption, but actively poison its attempts to adapt to the anti-pattern field. A final burst of energy that breaks its ability to process information. Commander Finn, his instincts honed by centuries of sensing the void's subtle shifts, contributed a crucial insight. The cosmic shield must evolve. It must not just resist the wave's unmaking, but actively project order. It must become a resonance matrix, a field of constantly shifting, complex patterns that actively disrupt the wave's ability to perceive. Thorne, his eyes burning with a mixture of terror and exhilaration, saw the pieces of the Eradication Blueprint finally converging. They were not just building a weapon, they were building a counter-reality, a localized zone of infinite complexity that would force the Entropy Wave to unmake itself. "Archangel," Thorne commanded, his voice filled with a desperate, triumphant energy. "Initiate Project Genesis 0. Design a new Seraphim-class vessel. Integrate the Anti-Pattern Projector, the refined Void Scythe, the null-energy pulse, and the resonance matrix. Build a ship that can plunge into the heart of the wave's fragments and deliver the killing blow." The Inner Quintet, receiving Thorne's report, understood the gravity of this moment. The centuries of research, the countless sacrifices, the relentless pursuit of knowledge had culminated in this. A weapon designed to unmake the unmaking itself. The final battle was on the horizon. The galaxy, though basking in its fragile peace, was unaware that its fate rested on the success of Project Genesis 0, a vessel forged in the heart of Earth, poised to confront the void and end its eternal hunger.